Hello everybody, welcome to this webinar on the Epigeum Research Skills Master Programme with a particular focus on our new Impact initiative. My name is David Lefevre. I'm here with my colleague Bryan Fletcher, who's leading the Impact initiative, and also with my colleague Sarah Vaughan, who's going to give you a demonstration of the research skills courses. So in this webinar we're going to explain what the Research Skills Master Programme is, how it can help you effectively train your research students in all aspects of core research and transferable skills. And we'll be spending quite a lot of time on this webinar talking about the Impact Initiative, which is a methodology developed by Epigeum which enables you to measure the impact of the training program. So you can really tell how this program is working and of course gather the necessary data you need in order to report that progress to whoever needs to be informed of it. Okay, so first of all I'm going to tell you a little bit about Epigeum, a little bit of background to the Research Skills Master Programme. I'll then hand over to my colleague Sarah, who will actually show you the courses, because I think that's the easiest way to really understand what this is about. Then we'll hand over to Bryan, who will talk about the Impact Initiative. So on this slide here, that will include an introduction to the Impact Initiative, the importance of data, the Epigeum Impact tool set, and the Impact user experience. Okay, so first of all, let's tell you about a bit about Epigeum. So Epigeum emerged as in 2005 as a spin-out from Imperial College in London, and became part of Oxford University Press earlier this year. Epigeum was formed out of a very specific problem at Imperial College. So I was leading the project at the time, and the problem we faced was that building very high quality online courses was proving too expensive for one institution. So at Imperial there's about 3,000 PhD students spread across the university. We were making great gains in delivering online training to the students, but at a cost which was really unaffordable. So what we did was we contacted other universities, initially nearby, around London and around the UK, and then further afield into Europe and Hong Kong, Australia. And we said that this very high quality training is working, but it's too expensive for one institution. So we brought a lot of institutions together. We brought 12 institutions together who all shared the cost, and then we developed these courses as a group. And Epigeum was formed at that time to manage this process. And what we found was that by universities working together, the courses became better. So universities shared expertise, shared knowledge, tested the courses with their students, worked together collaboratively throughout, and what emerged was a set of very high quality courses at the end. So we started in research skills, and this for PhD students and postdocs, and this set of courses built into a collection of 18 courses over a period of time, which became the Research Skills Master Programme. And this set of courses became very popular. It's used by quite a number of universities around the world. It's been updated numerous times in response to feedback, and it's now a program that we're very happy with. That's bullet point one. I'll try and speed up a bit. So bullet point two. So Epigeum is now the leading publisher of online courses designed to transform the way in which universities and colleges support their core activities of research, teaching and learning. So we started in this PhD postdoc space, then we moved into more senior researchers, then we moved up to principal investigators, heads of departments. We have comprehensive training programs for all levels in research. Then we looked at teaching, how to teach in higher education, how to teach using technology, blended learning, and then we moved into the student space. So we have courses on plagiarism, statistics, making the most out of your time at university, etc. And if you look at the third bullet point here, so we have about 78 online courses across 12 programs. So there's some statistics here about our customers. So Epigeum has been going for 10 years and it's grown quite quickly. We're now used by 260 institutions across 29 different countries. Now Sarah's going to show you the courses in a minute, and they won't really make sense until you've seen them. So we're going to show you a list of the courses and what the courses look like in a minute. And I think this training program will make sense when you see them. Just one thing to bear in mind is that the courses can be used in different ways. So they work as standalone online courses. So students can log on anytime, any place and take a course on their own. You then get feedback on how they've progressed. The key advantage of this is that students can study at the time of need. So students can study at the time and place they need their training. They can also be used with tutors. So if you have tutors, they can be used as the basis for a more structured training program, where you have a group of students starting together and finishing together and supported by a tutor throughout. So in that case, students get a lot more support and all the benefits of being together in a cohort. And thirdly, and this is increasingly common, the courses can be used as part of a blended learning program. So typically, students would take the course in advance of a face-to-face workshop, so they'd study all the generic, perhaps theory or knowledge they need, which means the workshop itself can then focus on applying that knowledge into the student's particular context. So Sarah's going to give you a demo. Bear in mind that these courses can be used in 3 different ways, and often universities use them in all 3 ways. So I think we'll now hand over to Sarah.
Thanks, David. So now I'm going to give a short demonstration of some of the screens and features of the Research Skills Master Program. So the program consists of 18 core courses plus an introductory course. The core courses are divided into 4 key areas: transferable skills, research ethics, research methods, and entrepreneurship in the research context. I won't be able to show you the whole program today, but I hope to give you a good idea of the look and feel of the courses and the features we use to make them engaging and effective. So this is the portal for transferable skills, where you can see the different courses you can access. We'll start by looking at the intellectual property in the research context. So all of our courses start with a welcome screen. This sets the scene for the course that the students will be taking. Here's the list of the authors who are involved in writing the materials, the learning outcomes, the structure of the course itself, some of the highlights to look out for, and also a list of the supporting institutions who have helped create the course. So I'll start with the first screen of our course on intellectual property in the research context. First, I'll point out some features common to all our courses and screens. At the top of every screen, we have learning outcomes, which indicate what is going to be covered in the screen and what participants should have learned or should be able to do after completing that screen. We also offer a screen duration, here 4 minutes, so that participants have an idea of how long it is likely to take to work through the screen. Screens vary in length throughout the program. So moving to the main screen content, the first activity on this screen is an example of one of the many interactive activities we use to help course participants learn. In the activity, participants are encouraged to study the example coffee cup and sleeve and make a note of the different types of intellectual property they can see. And then they can click to view some feedback to see if they are correct. This encourages participants to note down their thoughts, and it helps to keep the learning active. We try to keep participants engaged throughout our courses by using as many of these interactive activities as possible. Here are a few examples from our other courses in the program. So this activity is from our course on managing your research project. The aim is to help participants understand their different project roles in the context of a research project. So they are presented with a scenario and then asked to identify who is performing which project role by selecting from the drop-down menus. Once they have made their selections, they can click to view some feedback. This kind of activity enables participants to immediately practice and apply concepts introduced in a screen. So this is an example of a polling activity from one of our courses on entrepreneurship in the research context. Participants are asked to consider a question, in this case, who should receive the financial gains from technology transfer? When they click vote, they can see how their response compares to those of their peers taking the course. These polling activities are a popular addition to our programs, particularly as they can help to foster a sense of being in a learning community. Often our activities will have a reflective element, encouraging participants to think about a learning point in the context of their own discipline, institution, or research project. This activity from one of our career planning courses encourages participants to think about their employable skills and attributes and categorize them as excellent, average, and needs practice. Later in the screen, they are encouraged to think about how to demonstrate their excellent skills and qualities and how to improve on the ones they marked as average or needs practice. So we also use a very broad range of presentational activities to organize, illustrate, and break down information for participants. To give you some examples, this activity is from our course on getting published in the sciences. We use clickable pinpoints on an image to explain the different elements of a scientific journal article. So moving back to the screen we started on, something else I wanted to point out, which you've probably noticed as I open different screens, are our pods. You'll see on the right-hand side of many of the screens these little clickable boxes, or as we refer to them as pods, containing extra information about the main screen content, as well as activities, documents to download, and links to further reading. These pods are a great way of providing participants with an opportunity to extend their learning without bloating the core course content. On this screen, participants can download an information sheet on additional forms of intellectual property, and they can also undertake a portfolio activity. These are an important feature of the Research Skills Master Program. Portfolio activities are optional exercises giving participants an opportunity to reflect on, extend, or apply their learning. Responses to these activities can be stored in the portfolio workbook provided with the program. This can be used for future reference by participants and as a means of assessment if a tutor is used with the online courses. So this screen on design rights includes a useful links pod, providing a link to the Intellectual Property Office's website where you can apply for a registered design. Useful links pods are used regularly throughout all the courses to help participants locate additional resources quickly and easily. Epigeum hosts all the useful links pods so that we can update web links as and when they go out of date. This screen also contains one of our video interviews. We try to use video as much as possible in our courses as it really helps to bring the material to life.
So the kind of things that design rights commonly do cover, things like toys, fashion goods, electronics, phones, computers, and so on.
We interview experienced academics, professional experts, and current students and ask them to share their advice and expertise. It's worth noting here that all videos have a transcript for accessibility purposes. It's also worth noting that all our course screens have a text version, so the course is fully accessible for those using screen readers or who are unable to use the interactive version for any reason. We provide lots of opportunities for participants to test, consolidate, and apply their learning, again using our interactive activities. Most of the units in a course finish with a quick check exercise. This screen on the Intellectual Property course demonstrates a multiple choice activity. Participants select what they think is the correct answer option and receive feedback explaining why that answer is or isn't correct. In In this example from Managing Your Research Project, participants can check their understanding of two key terms by classifying a series of examples according to whether they are milestones or deliverables. Finally, in addition to these activities, each of the courses in the Research Skills Master Program finish with 1 or 2 practice scenarios. The aim of these exercises is to draw together all the learning points in the course and encourage participants to apply them to a real-world situation. This example is also from Managing Your Research Project. You'll see that participants are given a scenario about a multidisciplinary research project and then asked a series of text entry or multiple choice questions about the scenario. I hope I've given you a good taste of the program content and some of the pedagogical features with this demonstration. If you have any questions, please do note them down now or feel free to contact someone at Epigeum after the webinar. I'll now pass on this presentation to my colleague, Bryan.
Hello everyone. So I'm going to talk about our most recent initiative, which is our Impact Initiative. This initiative came out of a lot of the conversations that we were having with universities who are currently using our programs. Many recognised that while the courses were very successful in terms of giving training, we didn't really have any true data in terms of long-term effects and actual learning. So what we decided to do was try and build a set of tools in order to give you real information about the efficacy of the programs, and that became not only a desire to give analytics, but we decided that rather than follow a lot of what is happening in the market with providing general analytics, we wanted to give analytics which were very closely related to each of the programs. So in the case of Research Skills Master Program, the aim is to give you analytics which are very much embedded and integrated with the course objectives and with the learning objectives of the actual program. So firstly, I'm just going to talk very briefly about the importance of data. And I'm sure all of you will have different requirements and different perspectives on this, but what we find as a general set of needs, talking to many universities, is that the universities need evidence of the effectiveness of training programs in order fundamentally to get funding. It is required from many funding agencies, from governmental agencies, from local agencies, and also within the university itself, some sort of evidence of the efficacy of a program may be required in order to get funding. It's required as part of a regulatory process often, and then obviously the core need reflected in those funding requirements is a need for continuous improvement. We hope with the Impact Programme to give you the tools and in fact to give ourselves and our publishing programs the tools to continuously improve what we're developing and the programs in general. So those are the main reasons for developing it. And we would suggest and perhaps say to you that that data is actually more important perhaps for online learning than it is in some cases for face-to-face learning, because not all of the learning is happening in front of your teaching staff. As some of the learning is happening external to the institution, perhaps at home, we feel that data is actually even more important with online learning. Plus, it's actually easier to get sometimes with online learning. So that's the importance. The next thing I want to talk about, though, is really the whole idea of what we're measuring. So what evidence are we looking for? What actually are we measuring? And how are we measuring this? The other important factor to this is, does the method that we're using to measure have any validity, and is it reliable? Those are the sorts of questions that we're currently looking into and trying to develop tools for as we move along. So The first thing and the easiest thing that I find in order to categorize what we're doing is to make a split between what we call general analytics and our survey analytics. General analytics you will find available in many virtual learning environments or LMSs. These are simple analytics based on very basic numbers. So how many students do you have? How many completions do you have of courses? How many certificates are released, and what are the average scores? These are the sort of general analytics that are available in many tools and sets of learning analytics. In delivering our courses, we normally allow you to choose between using our hosted virtual learning environment, or indeed you can take a course package and upload that course package to your own virtual learning environment. For example, if you use Blackboard or Moodle, you could run the courses from that platform. And obviously, within Moodle or Blackboard, there are lots of analytics that you can use that cover a lot of these areas of general analytics. We provide that in our hosted solution, but what our impact solution is an attempt to do is much wider than this, and that's where I come on to the second column here of survey analytics. These are the things that we hope to measure across the courses. So the number of constructs and areas that we're looking at, and I'll go into slightly more detail about these in a second, but just to list them first. We hope to measure motivation, participant expectations from a course, and indeed participant experience. As I think Sarah mentioned earlier on, we're also looking at climate. So we're trying to measure the climate within the institution. So what is the institutional climate for supporting learning and the application of that learning in research? We're looking at capabilities, so participant capabilities, very much and very closely related to that. We're looking at learning. So what are the changes in knowledge, behaviour and skills that happen across the course? Now obviously in order to do that we have to have a design which allows for pre-testing, post-testing and indeed testing in a longitudinal sense, and I'll come on to the details of that in a second. We're looking at more general categories of course effect and efficacy, attempting to get at figures for return on investment, so that you can look at this from an economic point of view. We're looking at participant learning outcomes and perceptions as they go through the course. We're looking at progressive applications of learning over time, and then influence on professional development. So it's a lot. What we're trying to deliver is a wide set of tools covering a wide set of constructs and a wide set of ideas, and I'll try to give you some detail on how we're doing that in a second. So just a summary there. Some of the simple things we're trying to learn, and this slide really covers some of the motivational elements. So we're adding assessment tools in analytics. We're trying to find out, one, are the trainees, are the participants satisfied? Did they learn anything? What is the climate for training like? And how does your institution measure up? Now that fourth point is the interesting one, and I'll come on to this in a second, but what we're going to be giving you, supplying you with, is not only analytics and data based on your participants and the replies that they give us to the survey items, but we're also going to give you benchmarking tools, and I'll explain how we do that in a second. So what is the impact system? What are we designing? The first, I think, and probably most important thing is that we are much in the same way as we do with our course construction. We're delivering survey expertise, so we're appointing lead advisors, people who are absolute experts in the field, both in terms of the courseware, so in this case research material for graduate students, but also in terms of measurement, measuring the actual experience of doing courses in this area. So we think the most important part of this is our lead advisors, the expertise that's behind this. We're also then creating surveys which we then embed in the courses. The surveys are either complete full surveys which come at a point in the course. For example, before the course begins, we might include a demographic survey, or they're embedded as single items or perhaps one or two items deep within the actual courseware, much like the polls, which Sarah mentioned earlier. We're supplying survey reporting. So we create standard report types, and those will be largely visualizations, but we'll also give standard data output forms for CSV and other formats. So we're giving you reporting as well. We're giving you the benchmarking. Now what the benchmarking means is that we will be supplying not only all of the answers to a survey item that your participants have supplied, but we'll also be supplying the aggregate data for that survey item collected across many institutions. So that will give you a benchmark to align your thinking about your own data on. Obviously the survey data, and we're supplying general analytics as well. So here's just a very quick example of an embedded item. So this is part of a course. As you can see, it's similar to the type of design that Sarah showed you earlier. And we quite simply embed, in this case, a single item. So in this one, how confident are you that you understand your responsibilities for reporting research misconduct? This is actually from a research integrity course, so not from Research Skills Master Programme. But the design, the way that we embed the questions will be very similar in Research Skills Master Programme. Research Skills Master Programme, the actual writing of surveys and things is not yet done. We'll be launching that exercise at a workshop in the new year. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples of what we're measuring. This is getting into quite a lot of detail here, so I'll only show you 2 or 3 screens and then we'll stop for questions. But just as examples, for capability, the purpose of what we are attempting to measure is an attempt to look at a detailed analysis of participant learning outcomes in key areas of learning gain. We're trying to do a longitudinal comparison of learning gains, etc., etc. I won't read all of this. You can see it on the screen, but it's really quite detailed. And what I'll do is just show you a couple of these detailed descriptions of purpose, and then move on and try and describe how we're constructing the survey items. So that's capability. Application. Now application obviously requires us to create surveys which are delivered after the course is finished. In fact, currently we're working on the assumption that these application surveys will be delivered 6 months after the participant actually completes their survey. They'll receive an email and they'll be asked to go in and complete the application survey. This perhaps, in many people's perspective, is perhaps the most important piece of survey work. And one of the big things that we're working on in prototyping the whole system is making sure that participants are highly motivated to complete these sorts of surveys. I'm sure one thing in your mind is that many people are already completing too many surveys and there's a bit of survey fatigue. But what we're trying to do is design a system that is highly motivating to complete, and that people want to complete because they're actually interested in seeing some of the general results. And as with the polls that Sarah mentioned earlier on, one of the methodologies we're using for this is allowing participants, once they have completed some survey items, to actually see the generic and global data and see the global responses. And that we find in our prototyping is proving to be very motivating. That's application. Motivation, again, here are some of the things that we hope to measure. As you can see, it's very, very specific. It's a set of analytics tools that are designed entirely around the courseware rather than being generic and being rather removed from the actual content. So just to sum up really, the impact set of tools is designed as a tool set for a variety of training evaluation needs. It's cost neutral, and what I mean by that is the whole system will be delivered to you in a way that it's very much a one-click solution. You won't have to do a huge amount of work to actually see the reports. You'll simply log in, use the filters that we have in terms of the departments that you're working with, or the courses you're working with, etc., and then be able to, at a single one click, actually look at a report. So you won't have to do anything in that process. It's quite a simple and user-friendly system. It's designed by academic experts. It's integrated entirely as part of course design. It gives you an opportunity for benchmarking against global data. And most importantly, we are trying to design a system that is very motivating to encourage survey participation. This is one of the key challenges, because we're asking quite a lot of information, and obviously participants are busy, and participants are often quite tired of doing so many surveys. So we're trying to design it so that it's highly motivating. Here's an example of some of the data outputs that we expect to have. So again, this is where a learner is looking at global responses. And then finally, I'll stop for this after this slide, the positioning of the surveys. We'll be positioning surveys before people begin courses, during the time that they're doing courses. We're also positioning them embedded right into the course material. There are post-course surveys, and then there are 6-month surveys after that. Finally, the final thing that we're working on is a 360-degree survey, which is an attempt to get participants, colleagues, to actually comment on that participant, and we're still working on this one. It's a difficult one to implement in the way that we're doing it, so we're still hoping to be able to deliver this in future. So that's the end of my presentation. At this point, we'll pass over for questions, if any of you have questions, and we can answer those at the moment.
Okay. Hello, everybody. So one thing I think we've done a very good job of answering all your questions during the webinar. Maybe one thing to say is that we didn't talk about the technical side. This set of courses works within your VLE or our VLE. So you have the option of putting it into your system and collecting all the data, or using it via our system, which means you can get up and running very, very quickly. So just to sum up, the Research Skills Master Program is a collection of very high quality online courses that you can use to deliver effective training to your PhD students and junior research staff. It's been developed over a long period of time, and it really works. We also have this impact system, which enables you to get the data you need to measure exactly how effective it's working. One thing perhaps we didn't address is that although you can see that this system is multifaceted and does have its complexities, it's very easy to use. It's easy for your students to use, it's easy to administer, and on the implementation side, we give you a lot of help to ensure that you can get up and running with a minimum of pain. So that's the Research Skills Master Program. I hope you found this interesting. Maybe the next step, the easiest next step, is for you to have a look at the program and go hands-on, have a look through some courses, have a free trial to see just to see if it works for you. And if you want to do that, if you look on the slide here, please contact Wendy Harbottle, and Wendy will arrange for you to have access to the system. If you have any questions, pass them to Wendy. Wendy will then contact either Bryan or myself or Sarah. We're here to help. We really want this to work for you. So I hope you found the webinar of interest, and hope that you join our project. So I'll say thank you very much, and goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.